everyone, I'm Manav Sinha and you are about to get your weekly dose of everything automotive right here at the Times Drive Show. Just like every time, this time as well, there's a lot of action that we've packed up for you over the next half an hour. So without any further ado, let's kick things off and take a look at the lineup of this episode. We're going to start off with the Maruti Suzuki Victoris, which is Maruti Suzuki's attempt to dethrone the Hyundai Creta 2.0. Then we'll take you for a ride at TVS's latest electric scooter, which promises to make electric scooters fun. Last but not the least, for the SUV lovers out there, we've got the mighty Defender, and that's packing a 5-litre supercharged V8. Is it as fun as it sounds? Well, we're going to find answers to all of these and more in this episode of the Times Drive Show. So without any further ado, let's get to the action. Let's kick off the episode with the Maruti Suzuki Victoris. If it isn't broke, why fix it? Or perhaps I'll do you one better. If it isn't broke and it works, might as well do it again. Well, that seems to be the formula that Maruti Suzuki is following with this, the new Victoris. Now, Maruti Suzuki has launched the Victoris at a starting price of 10.5 lakh rupees, introductory prices. This effectively places the Victoris between the Maruti Suzuki Brezza and the Grand Vitara. Speaking of which, you might be wondering if the Grand Vitara already exists in the mid-size SUV segment from the house of Maruti Suzuki. What's with the Victoris? Why does it exist? Well, the answer is simple. Maruti Suzuki sells their cars through 2 channels in the country, as you would already know. One is the Nexa chain of dealerships, which is where you can buy yourself a Grand Vitara. However, the other half, which is the Maruti Suzuki Arena range of dealerships, well, they are a lot many more. However, they don't sell a mid-size 4.2-meter SUV, which can rival the likes of the Hyundai Creta. Well, the answer is simple. Maruti Suzuki has decided that they want to offer a car on both of these networks, and that is where the Victoris comes in. Effectively, it is very closely related to the Grand Vitara. However, they've done things a little bit different to please you and to showcase this car as a viable alternative. Let's take a look. On the design front, the Maruti Suzuki Victoris looks, well, unique to say the least. At first, it will be a design that you will either love or hate, but eventually you warm up to it. What will set you off is the rear-end design of the car, and while design is a subjective matter, I can say that at least in person, the Victoris looks better than what it does in pictures. I particularly liked the segmented rear tail lamp on the car. Overall though, the Victoris is a handsome car with good road presence as well. Coming to the inside of the Victoris, well, you're greeted with this all-new dashboard, and I think the interior cabin experience of the Victoris is the best Maruti Suzuki has to offer across their current lineup. That is how refreshing it is to be inside this cabin. Of course, you get this massive touchscreen infotainment system, which is running this new UI from the house of Maruti, and I have to say the touch response is fantastic. The display quality is crisp, and all in all, it really feels like it can belong to a car twice or thrice the price tag that the Victoris comes at. Even the instrument cluster has new graphics on display, and it will change its themes depending on the drive modes if you select in different versions of the car. Now, it is important to state that today we are driving the 1.5-litre smart hybrid, the mild hybrid engine equipped variant, and as a result, what we get over here in the center console are just 2 buttons for the ventilated seats. If you were to choose the Victoris with the all-grip all-wheel drive system, then you would get a mode selector over here, and if you choose the Victoris with the drivetrain that gets a strong hybrid system, then you will also get a dedicated EV mode button, which will let you drive the Victoris for a small duration in pure EV mode as well. But today, the variant we're talking about is a smart hybrid variant, and in that, this cabin experience leaves nothing more to be desired. Keep in mind though, the bright interior can be tricky to maintain over long term. On the features front, what stood out for me was the Dolby Atmos 5.1 surround sound system with the Infinity by Harman speakers, which pretty much offer the best in-car infotainment experience in the segment. The layered dashboard design also has this very interesting design element that lights up with 64 color ambient lighting and is a nice touch.
And in case you're wondering, yes, there is a panoramic sunroof on offer as well. Other notable features include ventilated front seats, wireless phone charger, an in-car air purifier, an all-digital instrument cluster, and the 8-way power adjustable seats.
Coming to the rear seat experience of the Victoris, I've set the front seat as per my height. For reference, I'm 5'10", and you can see I have decent amount of knee room on offer. I can slide my feet under the seat and I can drop down this center armrest. I have 3 headrests at the back, and overall the seating position is quite comfortable, to be honest. What does leave me wanting a bit more is the headroom on offer. I'm 5'10". I presume if you're someone 6 foot or above, you will find the headroom cramped at the back of the Victoris.
Last but not the least, the boot space on the Victoris is also impressive, and weekend getaways will not be a problem. With that, let's move on to the driving experience.
Now, when it comes to the driving experience of the Maruti Suzuki Victoris, the first thing that you will notice, which is a little subjective, but still, that would be the driving positioning. Maruti Suzuki, in my books, almost always gets it right, and I think they've done a great job in the Victoris as well. The other thing to note is the new steering wheel on the new Victoris, which is a new design. I really like how it looks. It feels really upmarket to hold and to look at, and it also houses these new buttons courtesy the addition of level 2 ADAS. And yes, that is a key addition that has been made to the car, along with a safety rating as well. At the time of the launch, Maruti Suzuki announced that this comes with a Bharat NCAP rating of 5 stars. Now, some of you may say that you need even more than that. Well, now Maruti Suzuki has also announced that the Victoris has attained full 5 stars at the global NCAP crash test ratings as well. Now, if you talk about the driving experience, well, there's not a lot to talk about. You see, under the skin, it's the same as the Grand Vitara. It's the same platform, and even the drivetrain combinations that you get with this car is the same as well. We're driving the smart hybrid system drivetrain with the automatic gearbox, and there's not a lot to complain. It's a very familiar affair. We are out on the open highways of Jaipur, and all in all, it's a comfortable place to be in.
And yes, fuel efficiency continues to be a Maruti Suzuki strong point, even with the Victoris. With the 1.5-litre naturally aspirated engine and a manual gearbox, Maruti claims about 21 kilometers to the litre. If you take this engine option along with the all-wheel drive drivetrain, the claimed mileage drops to about 19 kilometers per litre. As for the CNG variant, the mileage stands at 27 kilometers per kg. Lastly, the strong hybrid variants claim a massive 28.65 kilometers to the litre.
Well, now it's time to sum it all up, and for that, we have to go back to the start. I had mentioned that if a formula works, why not do it again? It seems to be what Maruti Suzuki is doing with the Victoris. After driving it around for a day, I can say that that formula works. You see, it's positioned between the Brezza and the Grand Vitara. I would say it offers great incentive to step up from the Brezza and go for this instead, while at the same time, with the new feature set and the safety net that this car is promising, it actually offers better value for money than the Grand Vitara as well. So I would go on to say that this is the best Maruti Suzuki experience that you can have in the country right now. And with the car that's coming from a brand as popular as this, well, it's a mighty option to consider in the mid-size SUV space. So that was the Maruti Suzuki Victoris. Great first impressions, but we will put it through a proper road test very soon, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But now, let's move on to the world of two-wheelers. Let's talk about scooters. You see, TVS already makes an electric scooter, which makes sense for a family setup. But what if they were to make it fun? Well, the result would be their new TVS Orbiter, and Ankur Taneja has traveled all the way to Hosur, TVS's birthing ground, to find out what it's all about. Let's take a look.
Well, this here with me is the all-new TVS Orbiter, the third electric scooter from the house of TVS. Now, TVS is saying that they designed the scooter keeping the Gen Z or the new age buyers in mind. So, how practical is it in terms of ride, handling, and performance, and what is TVS offering in terms of design and features in this new Orbiter Electric. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Hello everyone, welcome back to Times Drive, and this video is all about the all-new TVS Orbiter. Let's start the review. So what do you get in terms of design and features in this TVS Orbiter? Let's start with the front, and first you get the triple tone combination in terms of colors: navy blue, silver and neon. There's 6 color options in this TVS Orbiter. You get the telescopic forks in the front and the dual shock suspension in the rear, and the tire size in the front is 14-inch, and for the rear you get 12-inch in this Orbiter. In terms of brakes, you get combi braking system. There is no disc brake option in the Orbiter. The headlamp cluster is full LED, and you get the DRLs over here. There's some graphics on the side and the Orbiter badging here as well in the rear. The footstep and the side stand is very well integrated within the body panels itself, and you get the BLDC motor in the rear wheel of this TVS Orbiter, and the power it generates is around 2.5 kilowatt, and the peak torque is 120 Newton meters. It can touch 0 to 40 in 6.8 seconds, and the range that TVS is claiming in this Orbiter is around 158 kilometers with the 3.1 kilowatt hour battery pack. And the charging time for this scooter from 0 to 80% is 4 hours and 10 minutes with the 650 watt charger. And the boot space that you get in this Orbiter is around 34 liters. Right now you can see 2 half-face helmets that are there, and I believe the space is decent enough to keep your stuff. Over here you get the charging slot. To charge the scooter, there's a USB-A charging point and some space to keep your mobile phone and some small stuff. And over here you get the 5.5-inch LCD color display in this Orbiter, and the features that TVS is offering at the price point of 1 lakh really makes it a good package. You get cruise control, there is park assist, there is hill hold assist, and you also get turn button navigation and connectivity features as well in this TVS Orbiter, which makes it a really good package in terms of practicality and at the price point that you're getting this TVS Orbiter.
Now when it comes to performance, the first thing TVS is emphasizing with this scooter is the city commuting, and accordingly, you get the power tailored for that purpose. The initial performance isn't overly aggressive. You won't feel like the scooter is extremely zippy. It comes with 2 modes, Eco and City. In Eco mode, it reaches a maximum speed of 46 to 48 km per hour, while in City mode, the max speed is 68 km per hour. So the performance is decent if you consider it purely for city use. Handling wise, the scooter inspires confidence during turns and offers good maneuverability. However, the footboard space felt a bit limited for my height, and riders above an average height of 5'8" might find it slightly cramped. I also tested the cruise control, which can be activated at speeds above 20 to 22 km per hour, and hill hold assist also. Both features work perfectly during my short test ride on TVS's test track. So should you buy this scooter or not? In my opinion, design is one aspect that can make or break your first impression. It's either going to appeal you instantly or not. I have mentioned a few areas where there's a room for improvement, but there aren't many major problem areas. The factors in its favor are its aggressive pricing, features, and the range it offers, which is around 158 km. Overall, I think the positives outweigh the negatives, making it a good product for city use. However, if you need a scooter for both city and highway riding, you might want to look at other options.
If you talk about cars, it won't be wrong to say that SUVs are the flavor of the season. And if we try to understand why SUVs are everybody's favorite, then the reason is simple. It's because they look like this. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Defender 110. And it's not just any Defender. It's fitted with a 5-liter V8. If you are someone who likes to take in the details, take a walk around the car and soak it all in, then you better pack your hiking gear, because going around the Defender that spans over 5 meters long, over 2 meters wide and almost 2 meters tall, well, it's a trek. And this size plays a major part in the car's aura that has charmed so many all over the world, and even more so in our very own country, where size is might. Add to that the broad stance of the car, and what you get is an SUV that you will give space to in case it happens to pop up in your rear view mirror.
Now that you're done ogling over the road presence of the car, let's talk about interiors. And the first thing you will notice once you're seated over here, that it's very premium, very luxurious, and very unlike the brute nature that the car has in its exterior design. Because in here, it feels like a luxurious cabin.
Everything is built and finished extremely well, and I particularly like the chunky dials on the center console, which can be used for various functions. Yes, I would rather have physical controls over user interfaces that are jammed in a single massive screen, as seen on most of the modern cars today. The little gear lever has a comical sense in itself, and while the screens, be it the digital instrument cluster or the center touchscreen system, may not be the fanciest, they sure are intuitive to use and have a very high quality display and touch feedback as well. A special mention has to be made for the Meridian sound system, which gives an immersive experience.
And if we talk about the rear seat experience, I've set the seat as per my height. For reference, I'm 5'10", and you can see space is obviously not a problem. This is a massive car. You can get really comfortable if you drop down this drop-down armrest. You have your own temperature controlled zones at the back. You get 2 USB Type-C ports. You have this massive sunroof up on top. Large glass panels give a lot of light inside the cabin, makes it feel luxurious, spacious and airy. And overall, if you're someone who is thinking about being chauffeur-driven in a car like this, well, with the Defender, you won't have a problem.
Even the boot space is massive, and you can adjust the height of the car to make it more accessible too, in case you're wondering. But now, let's get to the good part.
Well, now it's time for my favorite part of the video, where I get to talk about the driving experience of the car. Usually, it goes one in two ways. First, it could be very difficult because I have to sum up a lot of things in a simple, concise manner in a short span of time. Or it can go in the second way, which is the case with the Defender 110, where it's very easy because the Defender 110 is built like a tank. Say you're driving and there's a pothole or a speed breaker or a road undulation that you didn't account for, no stress. You will never be unsettled. Or if you're driving out in the city, the gearbox is compliant, there's no jumpy shifts, and while out on the road, it feels like you're on the 4th floor because you can see all the traffic up ahead. It's a really unique experience. So again, not a problem there. If you're out on the highway, triple-digit speeds happen in no time, and you sometimes have to keep that in mind. But if you want to maintain a particular pace, not a problem. If you want to take those quick overtakes, once again, you have a 5-liter supercharged V8 engine under the hood. Once it spools up, there's a lot of power on tap. All in all, it's easy to sum up. The Defender 110 has a great driving experience.
And let's not forget, this is a Defender after all, and that should be enough to give you the confidence to take the car through even the most challenging of terrains. Yes, there are a lot of things that the car has going for itself in terms of off-road capabilities, but let's be honest, most of these cars will never be pushed to its limit in off-road conditions. They'll mostly be used for your weekend getaways, city commutes, or that special trip to the local market. Still, it's good to know that the car will continue even if the road does not.
Well, now it's time to sum up my experience with the Defender 110, and hold on. Let me sum it up visually. This is how tall the car is. I'm 5'10" and I can barely reach to the top of the car. Of course, the suspension is in its highest setting, but you get the idea. This is the charm. This is the summary of the Defender 110. If you're someone who likes to tell people they've arrived in life, if you're someone who likes the fact that everyone, every single time around you will notice the sheer magnificence and presence of this size of a vehicle, well, no wonder you like the Defender already.
The fact that it comes with a 5-litre V8 makes it a driver's delight, surprisingly, as I found out with my time with the car.
Well, that's about all for today in this edition of the Times Drive Show. We hope you liked our show. If there's anything you want to talk to us about, any suggestions that you have, anything you would like to see on the show, well, you can reach out to us on our social handles. To stay updated through the week with everything automotive, you can go to timesdrive.in. Well, that's about all for today. I'll see you same time next week, right here on the Times Drive Show.